So where did Skill Stack Beginner Boost go? That was the thing we were doing to get started. The quick answer is it got moved. We're still going to start something on May the 4th, but um, so the overall uh, focus is now going to be on, you know, content that, in fact, let me see if I can go find my whiteboard here. Here we go, Unix Infrastructure Engineer. So it's going to be called the Unix Beginner Boost probably next year, but there's a good chance I'm going to change the name of all of those boosts to match the names of the books that I'm writing, that I'm starting to write right now, and I'm obsessed with writing. So the first book we're going to write is Mastering Terminal Velocity, Mastering the Fastest Human Computer Interface, which has everything from the Beginner Boost, and you probably see me writing on it every day. You can go look it up actually at github.com/rob/book. And I've already covered this, but you can go watch another video on this. And we're gonna go back to this kind of thing. And so that's what's happened to the boost. It's changed. So most of the people that are interested in this are interested in the Go coding that they were learning at the boost. We already decided a couple of weeks ago that the Go coding in the boost is too hard for beginners, so who don't know how to code. So we assume that you have had some Python as your first language, and or hopefully something else. I mean, Python's a great first language for coders. I mean, everybody knows this. Even I might not be my favorite, but it doesn't matter. It's still the best one. So if you're wondering what to do with the boost and now, all the rest of the content from the beginner boost, from the terminal related stuff is covered. I mean, we covered it all. The only other things from previous years that I covered in the boost, skill stack related things, were things like, how to get ready for a job, and how to put yourself out there and stuff. But mostly the beginner boost has always been about becoming, mastering the terminal, and that has got really clear boundaries now, so that we have boosts for everything, so we don't have this overlap. So, this is my last take on what you should probably learn in what order. And you can go look at this up. This is in my about, or you can just come ask me. And so you go with the Unix Beginner Boost, which is pretty much just the terminal, and then becoming a professional technology professional, which is all the stuff related to how to get a job and network and all that stuff. That needs to be its own series, and frankly, it needs to be its own book. I don't know if that'll be the name, but that'll be it. And so I'm really emphasizing strongly that there will be books created to go with each of these boosts. And so the first one I'm really obsessed with, and that's what I'm going to be writing all day today, is going to be the KEG ML parsers, so that we can start writing the book and publishing it, and getting as close as we can to publishing the terminal velocity book. And when I say publish, I mean really publish. I mean paper version, no starch press, Amazon, all that. And I talk about that in another question. So if you want to know what to do, if you're like, what happened to Skill Stack Boost? I don't know what to do now. Go learn Python. Like, there are so many ways to learn Python. I just found a new book about how to learn Python, which I'll talk about another time. It's really good, actually. There's a number of really, really great resources for learning Python. I don't need to cover that at all. That's completely covered by the industry. Learning the terminal is not. So I'm going to focus on the things that need help. Learning Go as a beginner is not covered very much. There is a little bit of it. There's Learning Go, which assumes that you know how to code already and know a little bit of Go, but it doesn't. And it's a good resource. It is. It's a pretty damn good resource. So I'm gonna let people go to that if they wanna learn that. And the people that have been with me on the boost on Saturdays since we started doing co-programming are wanting to learn Go. So there's gonna be tons of Go programming, but from now until January, because I'm writing the parser and then all this stuff for KEG, and that's all gonna be in Go. So if you already know how to program and you want to increase your Go skills, you can still come in and check in skills at boost time, and you'll be seeing me writing and mostly coding in Go, right? We're going to be doing a lot of Kubernetes stuff as well, but that's generally during the week, not necessarily on Saturdays. So I do plan on keeping Saturday dedicated to writing, KEG related code, Go code, and potentially, a book related to Go of my own. But that's secondary to getting the terminal velocity book done. And then so that's pretty much it. That's what's happened. If you want to know what to do next, learn how to write your first program in Python, go programming fundamentals. At the same time, you can also learn how to create containers, OCI containers, with Podmat or Docker. Learn how to run local Kubernetes. You could probably also learn how to build your own desktop PC, set up a Linux server. This is also stuff that we're doing differently. So the boost is not going to be the same next year. So I'm just going to say it right now. So we still will have the tradition of starting something, probably the terminal velocity boost, on May the 4th. But it's not going to be called beginner boost anymore. It's going to be called whatever to match the book title that it goes with. And I won't be having any boost that does not have a book written for it already. So this is something I'm really seriously going to force myself to do over the next year. I change my mind all the time, but that is something that has plagued me since the beginning, because I am kind of loosey-goosey in how I do it. I know what my outline is and everything, but there's nothing to show for it after that other than the videos. And then people are like, well, how do I get through the videos? And they have a rough outline. If they have a book to go through, like an actual book that I can update, week to week if I have to, then, and that's why I'm so interested in Keg, because Keg will allow that, other than printing something that's out of date next week. Keg will allow me to have people, get the latest version of the book every week if they want, and contribute and add whatever. So that is going to happen. And then, so the most likely possibility for next year on May the 4th will be, a link to this map. Yeah, I have links to all the maps in my description. At least I will. If I don't have it yet, I will get you. I'll get all of this stuff. This stuff is all kind of like my freeform thinking about different things. And there's no way to link to all of my stuff. So I will be making a resource to link to these different whiteboards that I have. I have a lot of them. And the whiteboards are going to be based on, general topics and stuff like that. The home lab on it is another thing I do. So what's happened to the beginner boost in a nutshell is that it's gotten more specific, and it kind of fractured into a lot of other specific things, for which there will always be a book, a guide, or some publication from now on. So I know that sounds ambitious for me to do that, but I've always wanted to do this, and it's time to do it. And Keg needs to be built. It's actually more important than even covering a boost every year, is making sure I get Keg finished so people can start building the knowledge exchange, or the Keg, the Keg network, and share their knowledge and stuff like that. So when we do it next year, it'll be probably called the terminal velocity boost, and which is fine, terminal velocity boost, and it will, people are, what is that about? And it'll be getting you fast on the terminal. It will not include installing Linux at all. It will include using Bash as fast as possible. And then there will be different boosts, if you want to call them that, or sessions or series or whatever, about how to get Unix. And I'm talking about Unix, not just necessarily Linux. If we're going to go through, we'll have multiple series, segments about how to get Linux, because how to get Unix. There's so many different ways to do Unix. And in fact, I've always wanted to cover those things, including, installing on hardware, which we can cover now because I have a capture card that'll do it. And again, those are all topics that are covered a lot elsewhere. What's not covered is, again, the very specific thing about how to get fast with the terminal. And so that's my number one priority. Finish that book first, and do the rest. So the content from the boost is still there, and the Go programming, if that's what you want, or the terminal stuff. This isn't going to be writing the book every day, or something about the book. You'll be able to get that at any time, and then you can always go back to the videos. And then what will end up happening is the videos that go with for the boost will get more and more polished every year, and they'll become more segmented. And eventually, probably, they'll turn into Udemy courses, which will be an option. You won't have to do Udemy, but if you want to do Udemy, you can. Otherwise, you can slog through the unedited video that I use to make the Udemy stuff, and there'll be a book that goes with it. Okay, so that's what we are looking at. All right.